Before I begin this week's episode, I apologize to start it on a somber note, but I did want to take a second here to acknowledge the very sad news that occurred in the toy community this past week, because it was reported that the CEO of Hasbro, Brian Goldner, unfortunately passed away at the age of 58 this past week. And it was only days after he had announced to take some medical leave of absence from the company. And so I just wanted to offer my condolences to, of course, the Goldner family and everybody at Hasbro, because if it wasn't for Brian and all of his accomplishments, Hasbro probably wouldn't be where it is today. It's not just a titan in the toy community, but also as a world-renowned entertainment brand. And we definitely wouldn't have the Power Rangers Lightning Collection as it is today, or probably not even at all, if it wasn't for everything that he achieved. It was just very unfortunate news to see, and I just want to make sure that I took a second to talk about it here, since it is, pretty relevant to what we like to talk about. So, sorry to start on such a somber note, but my deepest condolences to everyone at Hasbro and the Goldner family. And let's talk about some Power Rangers. Hello Power Rangers Lightning Collection fans, and welcome back to Lightning Storm, the series where lightning always strikes twice, as we talk about everything that has happened in the past week for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. And oh boy, it was a week. So this week had a lot of stuff released in it. It had a lot of weird problems that are going to be persistent for the next couple of weeks, I'm sure, and months. And also, remember that funny little thing, Hasbro PulseCon? That's a week away. And we know, nothing about it. So, let's go ahead and talk about everything we have. So we have two main defects to talk about with the Lightning Collection this past week. So I figured we'll start off with the one that is something that you can fix on your own, before we get into the one that you can't. So this past week, we're actually late last week, and to be honest, I should have noticed this earlier, and I didn't. But we did start seeing Versus Packs Wave 2 arrive for some people. And last weekend, if you remember, I posted a video review of Versus Packs Wave 2, because I was able to get my hands on some of them thanks to MCU Collector 24. And I was watching his video review, and it actually was pointed out to me in the comments of mine. I just didn't actually look at my figures, to be honest. But there was a widespread problem, or there is a widespread problem, on at least this first batch. I don't know if this is going to be, once they finally make it out from Pulse and Amazon and stuff, if this will be a continuing widespread problem. But Psycho Silver has some gauntlet issues going on here. So I don't even know where to begin with why this is happening. So I know there's tons of problems with manufacturing, and the whole industry is a mess right now. I totally get that. But basically what's happening here is that the Psycho Rangers have this wrist gauntlet, armor on them, where they have these little not squares, they're little some kind of geometric shape of their color that's supposed to be on the back side of their arm. And literally on every single Psycho that they've made so far, and if you've known the Lightning Collection, they've released that mold quite a bit of times. It had been accurate. It had been accurate where the squares or the whatever were on this side, and you couldn't see them on this side of the arm until Psycho Silver. So despite the show having it be the same as everybody else, and the actual promo shots, which is going to be a continuing theme here of promo shots and final products not matching, showed it correctly. MCU Collector 24's video, my video, and pictures from everybody else that I've seen who's had it have the gauntlets on Psycho Silver swapped around. So yeah, don't know how that happened. Obviously some weird factory error occurred with that. And like I said, maybe it's just this first initial batch. Both mine and MCU Collector 24's came from the same case. But then I've seen some pictures of some of the other people who got them, like we talked about last week on Lightning Storm, and their gauntlets were flipped around as well. So it's not just with our case, it seems to be a common problem. But we'll see if that persists. The good thing is, you can fix it yourself, and I actually did. I don't even know if you can see him. You're not going to barely be able to see it from here, because I've put all the new figures up here on the display up in the dorm. So Psycho Silver's there behind me, and I did fix it. Basically, thankfully the gauntlets aren't glued on there or anything like that. They're just held on there by friction. So if you take the hands off, like you were to change the hands like normal, and just either take a little bit of heat or a tiny bit of pressure, just be careful, you should be able to get them to slide right off. I got the left one off with no problems. The right one was giving me some resistance, but I got them off just swapped them around and we're good to go, all perfect. So back to being the way that it should have been. So just keep an eye on that. If it doesn't bother you, I mean, it's not that big of a noticeable thing until it's pointed out to you, so I'm sorry, I guess. But yeah, if you whenever you get yours, whenever those release more readily available, and you notice that and it bothers you, at least you can fix that. Later on, though, we'll talk about something you can't fix on your own, which is a lot more infuriating. Before we get to that, though, let's rapid fire through some of the releases we had this week, because we did get a lot. We're kind of finally in that period of time where things are going to start just releasing all over the place. But delays are still happening as well, which we'll talk about. But first of all, Wave 10 has shipped once again from GameStop, or at least 3/4 of it. This time I finally got a set of it. So they went back up in stock this past Tuesday, and surprisingly enough, they actually seemed to honor the pre-orders first this time and not the new orders. So that's how I was able to finally get mine, but Cassie still hasn't shipped for anybody yet. But if you have not seen yet, the last 2 days I've uploaded videos on all 3 of these on the channel. So if you want to check out them more in depth, and they're also behind me too. I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah, they're all 3 of them are up there. So it's a great wave. I love the wave so far. As I just slowly put the boxes on the ground, it's great. I really like it, and I'm hoping that we get Cassie soon, so we can actually have the full complete wave. But yeah, there's that. A-Squad Yellow, which you can also see behind me somewhere, released from Dorkside Toys, like I talked about last weekend. That arrived on Tuesday, after the holiday with no mail on Monday. So that got here. So that's, I mean, it's out from Dorkside, but I don't think Dorkside ever put it back up like they did with A-Squad Red, unfortunately. So I'll put the link in the description for it below again. So if you want to keep checking it, hopefully they'll get another case of them in or something like that. And then A-Squad Pink released, which we'll get to in a second, because I did forget about Cel-Shaded Pink, because Cel-Shaded Pink actually released from GameStop in Canada. So both Toy Turd and It's Morphin Toy on Instagram posted some really great photos and really great videos comparing, also just showing off the Cel-Shaded Pink Ranger figure, but also comparing it to the Wave 2 original version and the Hasbro Pulse Metallic Armor version. And I gotta say, I think it looks pretty cool. When I first got announced back in June, I'm like, Hasbro, another way for them to sell us the Mighty Morphin team for the millionth time, and another new variant. But seeing these in-hand pictures, I'm kind of digging that comic effect. I actually think it kind of turned out pretty sweet. So now I'm actually kind of excited for this figure. But like I said, it does seem to only have released so far from GameStop Canada. So maybe GameStop in the US will get it early, like they did with Wave 10. Or maybe we will have to wait. Currently, GameStop in the US has it slated for a December release, while Pulse has it at March. So who knows? But yeah, that looks fantastic, and I will leave some Instagram links down there below as well if you want to check out the more in-depth videos and photos from those 2 accounts, because I think it really does the figure a lot more justice than it was showing off to be on the June 11th Fan First Friday it was revealed at. And then finally, for releases this week, we also did get A-Squad Pink, which we're going to talk about later for sure. But A-Squad Pink released in the UK, we had talked about last week, that, well, first of all, it was available on that China site on Taobao that had In Space Silver, so technically it had released earlier than in the UK. But we had also said that Hasbro Pulse UK was sending out those emails of, hey, we're going to ship this soon. And they shipped it, so we've seen a couple different reports of A-Squad Pink arriving in the UK, and the figure looks good, but if you've been on Twitter, you'll know the big problem with it, and that will be the main final story here. Because we have a couple more delays to talk about before we get to that final story. So let's go ahead and move on to that. We got some more delay emails sent out this past week for a couple of pre-order items and such. First of all was the restock of the Dragon Dagger. If you remember, I think I mentioned this a couple months ago. The Dragon Dagger got put back up for a restock pre-order since it had been sold out for a couple of months. And I don't remember when it was originally supposed to come out. I think it was like late 2021. But these delay emails now have it pushed until July 1st of 2022. So quite a bit of far away of a release window for that one, unfortunately. And then for figure news, they did delay the metallic Armor Rangers, so it was inevitable, I guess, this was going to finally happen to them at some point. They had been the sole couple of figures that never got to have a delay email sent for them in the US, and well, here we go. So they were slated for a November 1st release for months, and now they are slated for a December 1st release. So they're still expecting them by the end of the year, which makes sense because we have seen them appear on a bill of lading before, so they are on the way, or actually have already arrived in the US. With ports starting to open up a little bit more, maybe they will actually be able to come out, and maybe this was just to make sure that they could cover their bases if it doesn't make that November release date. Interestingly though, some people got sent emails that talked about these metallics being pushed. I never got those emails. However, I went to my order on Hasbro Pulse and they did change the dates in my actual order from November 1st to December 1st. So if you didn't get the emails, I would check your order because they probably did delay it. You just probably didn't get the emails. And they weren't even like in my spam folder or anything. I just didn't get them. So I don't know what that was about. But yes, the metallic armors have seemingly been delayed for a little bit. And they were just delayed in Hasbro Pulse UK last week as well. So I still think they'll make it out by the end of the year in probably both countries, but probably within the next month and a half, and we'll just have to wait and see. Alright, let's do it. A-Squad Pink. So if you did not see this past week, we got to see some interesting things with A-Squad Pink, and it looks like we have another Dino Thunder White Ranger figure situation on our hands here, which is something I never wanted to say. Well, today we have another problem similar to that. It's not as drastic and it's a little bit more weird because with that one, every single picture that we had seen for, Dino Thunder White in the official promo shots had it wrong. This is an opposite situation, kind of. And what I'm talking about here is the visor on In Space. I mean, kind of technically, the visor on A-Squad Pink. So A-Squad's, their visors are the same visors as we see on the original In Space helmets because they are mainly just repainted, remolded versions of those. And basically what happened here was that when A-Squad Pink released in the UK, fans noticed that she does not have her visor trim. She has A-Squad Red's again. And so it's obviously that they just repainted the figure from A-Squad Red and did not bother to actually have the correct trim. Now, if this was the first time we saw this figure ever, I would be still upset about that, but I'd be like, oh, well, just some kind of weird cost-cutting measure or something. But here's the thing. We saw it correct. Literally, on the May 14th Fan First Friday, when John Warning revealed the figure and revealed the whole rest of the team, he held up A-Squad Pink that had the correct rounded visor trim on it on the side. And all of the promo shots we saw that day had the accurate visor trim. So no idea what happened here with that, but it's extremely unfortunate because literally she was the last member of the team to release, and besides the inconsistencies with Blue having the white visor trim and the rest of the team having the show accurate silver visor trim, at least the other ones had their proper shapes. So we were so close on having a mostly consistent and mostly perfect A-Squad team until this had to happen. Of course, the box arts have been wrong on A-Squad this entire time. They're all just a Photoshop, different color of the same box art, so they didn't bother to, differentiate the visor trims on there. So I don't know if this is some kind of weird correlation or something. But it's extremely unfortunate, and it's just really annoying. Because it's like, you literally showed it. Like, sometimes, yes, the promo pictures and the final product differ. Specifically, things like Lost Galaxy Blue, where the promo images had that white paint that wasn't supposed to be there, and the final product had it corrected. And so yeah, I mean, I know promo shots are not always based off a final product, and I know that the prototypes on the Fan First Fridays were also not supposed to be taken as the end-all, be-all final product, but like, it was inherently correct there. So what happened? And what's very interesting is that one person actually reached out to Loretta from the Hasbro team, and she actually responded back about this. So they had sent her the pictures of, the problem, and Loretta had said, and I quote, "That's odd, I think that's a mess up. I know we adjusted the visor to be more round/oval than the sample John even had." So what's really strange is that it seems like even the one we saw on the Fan First Friday obviously wasn't the finished one, but like they were consciously trying to have it be the more oval shaped like it should be. So what's going to happen? You know, I don't know what's going to happen with this. Since it's only been released in China, and we've barely seen any pictures of it in China and in the UK, in which every picture out of the UK has it all inaccurate. It's not just like some one random defect. It seems to be a widespread problem. I'm assuming that it will be the same thing when the US batches of them finally start to release, whenever that's going to happen. She's still currently slated for a November release on GameStop and a January release on Pulse, so it could still be a little bit of time. So I don't know if maybe it's just the UK's batch, which would be unfortunate. But I'm personally hoping that either it gets fixed in some kind of like restock or something, which is probably unlikely since it is an exclusive. Or, alternatively, we bug them enough to have them do a helmet replacement program for a second time, which would not be fun for anybody. So I know, because there was a whole ordeal, you know, people were asking. I mean, I believe that they still do it for Dino Thunder White. I still see people get Dino Thunder White helmets in as recent as like the past week. If you still need them, I think they still do it. So like, it just costs more for them, you know, and it's one of those things where you would think that they would try to prevent things like this from happening so they wouldn't have the outcry that would have them have to fix it like this. I think the Dino Thunder White situation is much more egregious, and that definitely deserved the helmet replacement program that we got. But this one here, I'm hoping something comes of it, because it's really unfortunate, especially like I said earlier, because it's the last member of the team. Like, guys, you were so close. But yeah, basically all I would say now is buy it, see what happens, and I would contact Hasbro though, even if they, you know, don't formally announce the helmet replacement program. Maybe they will offer a helmet or something, because I don't know if they'll like formally announce it like they did last year, since A-Squad Pink has already been revealed. And back then, last year, the helmet replacement program was announced when Dino Thunder White was revealed. So it's kind of a bit of a different situation. They have like very similar situations, but like this one's just a little bit different, you know? It's not the exact same kind of scenario in terms of like all the circumstances. So like I said, I think in our best interest, it would be a good idea to let Hasbro know that we are disgruntled by this. And I know people always talk about these are just $20 figures. You know, you're overreacting too much. And I get that. I totally get that sentiment. The problem is, it's just the fact that, like, it's so annoying that they get so close to the finish line, though. They just drop the ball, you know? And it's like, it would not bother me as much if we didn't see it correct in John's hands. And I don't even care about the promo pictures, because I know that sometimes those are not indicative of the final product. It's just it's the thing about, like, when he held up the whole shot of the A-Squad on May 14th, and we had correct visor trims for everybody. That's all I want. Like, is that too much to ask, really? Especially as these figures creep up and up closer to $30. All I want is just somebody looking at things at least one additional time. And I know that everything is crazy right now with the whole industry, but still, I just would hope that it makes it look like Hasbro doesn't care, and I don't think that they don't care. I think that they care. I just think that they don't always double check some things, and maybe they should. And the last thing before I go, Hasbro PulseCon 2021. It's happening next weekend, and we are pretty much flying blind right now. So, this time last year, we knew the day that the Power Rangers panel was happening. We knew what day we were able to order the exclusives. We knew all that stuff. This year, we know none of it. Hasbro PulseCon is taking place Friday, October 22nd, and Saturday, October 23rd. And Power Rangers is going to have a panel one of those 2 days. I am more inclined to believe Friday for certain reasons. I'm not going to say what, though. Maybe I will later. But I'm inclined to think it's then, but if it's not, it could also be Saturday, potentially. But like, they haven't revealed the panel dates for any of them. So, I mean, there's supposed to be a Power Rangers one, Star Wars, Marvel, Transformers, Ghostbusters, maybe, all this other stuff. So, I don't know. Also, Pudgy Pig, back in July, when he was announced to be going up during Hasbro PulseCon later on in the fall, and here we are. So, my original guess was that they would follow last year, where like you could order the exclusives for premium members on the Wednesday before, and then general retail for general public on the Thursday before the event. And maybe that's happening this time. If it is, they have a very small window of time to announce that that's happening. and I don't know if maybe they are holding back on putting the exclusives up right away because of all the shipping delays. But Pudgy Pig has been on the bill of lading for months. He is on the way, or has already arrived in the US, so I don't think it would be too crazy for them to just go ahead with their original plan and put him up during PulseCon. We'll just wait and see. Of course, as always, I'm going to do my big Hasbro PulseCon, as I do for any Fan First Friday or similar event. My big live stream reaction with me and a bunch of my friends will be happening whenever the panel is, and stay tuned on Lightning Fig PR on both Twitter and Instagram, in which I will let you guys know what time the Hasbro PulseCon panel for Power Rangers is starting. Once anything officially has been revealed of times and if Pudgy Pig's happening and all that stuff, I'll be sure to let you guys know so you don't miss it. But it should be the biggest event for Power Rangers reveals that we've had in a while, I would assume, because last year PulseCon just hit the ground running and really killed it with reveals. We had 10 figures revealed last year at this event, the most ever in one day. And so I think they have some pretty big shoes to fill, and I'm very excited. I'm very anxious for how much it's going to cost, but I'm very excited to see what they have for us next weekend. And like I said, it's probably going to be some of the stuff that I've leaked a couple weeks ago. So just keep that in mind, that there might not be any surprises, or there'll be very minimal surprises. If you watch this series, you probably know that by now, but people will complain nonetheless. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode of Lightning Storm. So either I will see you next Friday or Saturday, depending on when the panel happens, for my live reaction with friends to Hasbro PulseCon 2021. And of course, since it is the week prior to PulseCon, things might start leaking out or trickling out that we need to talk about beforehand. And if that happens, there'll for sure be emergency episodes of Lightning Storm throughout the week. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time. And until then, you can follow me on Twitter at LiftandRangerKey or at LightningFigPR. And until then, I'll see you on Lightning Storm. The series where lightning always strikes twice.